Hello, class. Today we're going to be talking about earthworms. Are earthworms insects? How do earthworms help us? And what are some of the basic facts about earthworms? They go through metamorphosis. How do they develop? And how do they help us besides fishing, right? I know some of us use earthworms for fishing, some of those night crawlers. So earthworms are really amazing, and they get us outside of the realm that we've been in and more into our creepy crawly realm here. So here we go. Are earthworms insects? No, earthworms are not insects. Why are they not insects, friends? Why? Because insects have 6 legs, an abdomen, a thorax, a head, antenna, and some have wings or stingers. Do earthworms have these things? No, they do not. Earthworms don't have these things, so they are not insects. Earthworms are a member of the phylum Annelida. Annelida is known in general terms as ringed or segmented worms, and it is one of 2 clades belonging to the superphylum called Lophotrochozoa. So that said, while they aren't insects, earthworms are most certainly invertebrates. Okay? So let's talk about some fun facts about earthworms. Number 1, the longest earthworm ever found was in South Africa. It was 22 feet long. So if you have a dad who's about 6 foot tall and he laid down and you put another 6 foot tall person up and just connected them like a worm, it takes 3 of them. Okay? Almost 4. So that's a long worm. I don't know if I'd want to run into that guy. There are about 2,700 types of worms in the world. They come in lots of different colors, including purple, reddish brown, and bright blue, which Mrs. Watson had no idea. I've only seen brown ones and maybe some reddish ones. Earthworms have no lungs. They breathe through their skin. That's why they come to the surface after heavy rain. In 1 acre of land, there can be up to 1 million worms. 1 million worms in 1 acre. 1 acre is like your yard. You know, that's a lot of worms. Worms don't have eyes, but can sense light at their front, and they will try to move away from it. Here's some more fun facts. They breathe through their skin. They come out at night, and when they come out at night, they're called night crawlers. That's most often what we fish with, actually. There are over 6,000 different types of earthworms. So as you saw, this one said 2,700 types. This one said 6,000. I've seen mostly 6,000, so I think that's the most up-to-date of the types of earthworms. Earthworms have no bones or skeletons. Invertebrates. That's what an invertebrate is. The largest worm ever found, again, was 22 feet long. Earthworms' bodies are made up of ring-like segments called annuli. These segments are covered in setae, or small bristles. They have little small bristles, which the worm uses to move and burrow. Burrowing is when they dig down into the ground. Okay, that's called burrowing. Different animals burrow, including these worms. These terrestrial worms, terrestrial means earth, typically dwell in soil and moist leaf litter. So if you have a compost pile, you may see them there. Their bodies are characterized by a tube within a tube construction with an outer muscular body and surrounding a digestive tract that begins with the mouth in the first segment. As they burrow, they consume soil, extracting nutrients from decomposing organic matter like leaves and roots. Earthworms are vital to soil health. Soil is the dirt, right? And to plants growing in it because they transport nutrients and minerals from below to the surface via their waste. An earthworm can eat up to 1/3 of its body weight in a day. So they eat a lot, so there's a lot of waste, and that waste helps your soil to be good, strong soil. Earthworm life cycle. Earthworms go through direct development, unlike the insects we have been studying, which go through incomplete or complete metamorphosis. So remember, incomplete metamorphosis is 3 stages. Complete is 4. Well, earthworms go through something called direct development. This means that they hatch right from an egg, and the little worms look just like the adult worm. They do not have a larval or pupa stage. I just said pupa. Silly Mrs. Watson, a pupa stage. So here is one life cycle. So you see the cocoon that they're in. So their eggs are in the cocoon. They hatch and they look just like a little worm. And they just get bigger. So here's another picture of that. The cocoon, the hatchling. The hatchling looks a little different, but then it changes into an adult worm and it has that form. So they are direct development, not metamorphosis. Body parts of a worm. So here we have the anterior part of the worm. We have the mouth and the prostomium. This is the clitellum, the setae. So these are those segmented setae right there, and they're segments. So there we go. Then we have the posterior, which is the rear end, and the anus, okay? And the hard part about a worm is we can't always tell the front from the back, right? And these are the parts of an earthworm. Earthworm parts, continued. An earthworm does not have a skeleton as bristles on each segment called setae, right? With setae, that help the earthworm move. So we saw that in the other slide. Earthworms have no limbs, but the CT are almost like little legs that help it slide through the soil. There are 4 parts of CT in each segment of a worm's body. The earthworm has 2 sets of muscles, one that make it long and thin, and one that makes it fat. An earthworm has a nervous system with a simple brain and nerve cord. So we have a big central nervous system with our spinal cord and our brain and our nerve system. And so they have a small nervous system. Some earthworms, night crawlers, can live up to 5 to 10 years. This is probably because they can't be attacked and eaten by birds, since they are so deep below the surface, unlike the common red earthworm. So the ones that you see most commonly coming up during the daytime and rain and stuff are the little red earthworms, and those are the ones the birds like to eat. What do earthworms do? What do earthworms do? Are they just there for our simple fishing? Are they there just to be food for birds and other prey? No, worms help to increase the amount of air and water that gets into the soil. They break down organic matter like leaves and grass into things that plants can use. When they eat, they leave behind castings that are very valuable type of fertilizer. Earthworms are like free farm help. They do not have jobs like bees and ants. However, they do have the job of helping to enrich and fertilize soil. So this little slide, let's see if we can see what it says. It says, worms help water flow through the soil. So as they burrow down, they aerate the soil. So aerating the soil is what happens when these little holes go into the soil. It lets air and nutrients in there. So worms help by doing that, see? And then they also leave their a type of fertilizer behind their castings. So it's amazing how they help farmers. And they say that you know that you have healthy soil and land if you have lots of earthworms, because that's where they'll be. All right, well, thank you, class. So this was the last slide, and I am missing you all very much, and I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will want to just encourage you again, do all the haiku. You guys are wonderful at it. Do your worksheets, do any of the craft projects that you can. Draw pictures, talk to your friends and family about what you're learning, and try to get outside and enjoy some of the nicer weather these next few days and get some exercise. And maybe while you're outside, especially since we've had some wet soil, you can look in your soil. Kind of dig around a little bit if your mom and dad let you, and see if you can find some earthworms down by some plants, maybe by some rotting leaves. If you have a compost pile or anything like that, see if you can find some earthworms. And if you find some earthworms, please, please, please ask your mom or siblings to take a picture and send it to us. I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you in the next lab.